Hollyoaks has revealed the first scenes that will see the show revisit the storyline of Luke Morgan's rape, which devastated his life 17 years ago. Fans already know that evil Mark Gibbs is heading back to the show to darken Luke's door once more, and now actors Gary Lucey and Colin Parry have shared details of what is ahead as their characters come face to face again, following Luke's horrific ordeal, which became one of Hollyoaks' most talked about episodes of all time. Mark was sentenced to 8 years in prison, and while Luke has done his best to move on, he has remained haunted by the demons of the past. It has been these demons which have driven Luke to a destructive alcohol problem which is currently ruling his life and putting his marriage to Mandy Richardson at risk. So when Luke spots Mark from afar, his heart plummets and he flees. Luke has been enjoying a day out with Mandy as they spend time with her daughter Ella, and afterwards enjoy a conversation that starts to heal their fractured relationship. But suddenly, Luke spots Mark and flees in a panic, leaving an oblivious Mandy bewildered. When Luke doesn't return home that night, Mandy and Darren worry that he has fallen off the wagon again, but Nancy Osborne finds Luke and discovers what was behind his disappearing act. Nancy agrees to keep quiet over the fact that Luke has seen Mark, but he then becomes obsessed with what kind of life his rapist has been living since his release, and logs onto social media to track him down. And this is something that he will live to regret. Discussing what it's like to be back, Colin shared, "My first day back this time around was in Chester doing scenes with Gary and Sarah. It was great, because it was exactly the same two members of cast in 1999 on my first day then, and it was in Chester too, very nostalgic, which I love. Working with Gary again after so many years was brilliant. We literally haven't laid eyes on each other for 17 years, which was my last day of filming in August 2000. He hasn't changed one bit, neither has Sarah, which is annoying as I've aged so much. He looks and acts exactly the same way. He is very passionate about this storyline, as am I." Gary added, "Colin is a fantastic actor and a lovely guy. Obviously, so many years have passed since we last worked together, and he is still as lovely now as he was back then. He's also still so brilliant at playing Mark, and his portrayal of that kind of character is fantastic." On the decision of Hollyoaks to revisit the plotline, Gary continued, "The first time we visited the storyline, we were so proud of what we achieved, being the first television program to tackle a male rape storyline. It was handled so sensitively and was a groundbreaking storyline that will always be a huge part of my career. Since then, the subject has been covered more widely, but not in the same way as this one. Luke never actually dealt with what happened, and unfortunately the ordeal followed him throughout his whole life. It's really interesting to see the journey Luke has been on, because of not seeking the help he needed. Obviously, the scenes are leading up to Luke and Mark coming face to face, and both actors are predicting hugely tense scenes when this happens." Gary warned, "I would imagine it would be horrific for Luke, and it may be that tip of the iceberg that turns him back to the drink. It could ruin everything he has with Mandy. Luke is going to be revisiting that horrible time in his life, and he becomes quite obsessive with Mark. There is some really heavy stuff to come that has been great to film, and I am so glad